Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our episode today of Shred and Soul.
I'm Shred, Kevin Wood.
And I'm Soul, aka Wind Hughes. We had a dilemma today, trying to figure out what we were going to talk about because we are under this cloud of busyness and stress, and it's a very unusual time right now, which we'll get into. But we decided that that's what we should talk about instead of whatever things we had on our list that we were interested in talking about, because sometimes in life, what's going on is so intense or so big or so stressful or so time consuming that you can almost not focus on anything else.
Yeah, and these stresses can be huge. One major stress can put you overboard, but combined little stresses, all adding up at the same time, can put you in a frame of mind where you're going to lose it.
Yeah, sometimes it is an accumulation of things,
Mm-hmm.
such as a time right now. And though we are actually in the middle of or tail end of a huge storm that's been dropping rain and wind all over this part of California. And Kevin and I talk about the level of anxiety we have because we live in the redwood forest, which is just a beautiful area full of grandfather and grandmother redwood trees. And they are enormous. You feel so minuscule standing under them. And in these storms, the dangerous part of the redwoods and the fir trees here and the tan oaks is that, as beautiful as they are, they do fall down. People don't think of trees necessarily in a forest falling down at any given moment,
Mm-hmm.
but especially when the soil is saturated and the roots are loosened
Mm-hmm.
and the winds pick up as they have been last season. Gosh, there
Mm-hmm.
were many trees down immediately around us and they fall on houses.
They crush houses.
Yeah, so it's scary as a shit to be under these
Mm-hmm.
redwoods in a storm like we've been having, and just the awareness of how much that edge of anxiety or anticipation
Mm-hmm.
impacts us.
Yeah. You're sitting on the couch trying to relax, and you hear the rain pelting the skylights, and you think, well, what would it be like to have a giant fir tree come through the roof right above me and pin me down onto the ground underneath the wreckage of the tree and the house?
I know your mind goes there.
I know your mind can't help but go there. But anyway, we don't want to dwell on that subject too
But
much.
we've been dwelling on it a bit in our lives because,
It's
like you said, it doesn't go away.
it's caused a disruption in our natural flow. I know
Yeah.
for myself, I haven't gone outside in 3 days,
Yeah.
and I do rely on that for my daily practice. And so that's been missing. And I think that I've not been able to cope with the stress as well as I usually do.
Yeah, you're a much happier camper when you're walking.
Yes.
And also the adjustment to the winter beginning with such an extreme storm. We have sunshine a lot of days. And for me, part of how I handle life is by having my hands in the garden or just being outside. And if I am not outside, it really impacts me. And so being in the house the past few days
Mm-hmm.
is an adjustment. Now, if we were in the middle of winter and we'd be doing it a while, we will have acclimated to the change in light and the time difference. We might really be excited about 3 days in the house to cozy up by the
Mm-hmm.
fire and binge some movies or something.
But you suffer from seasonal affective disorder. Is that right?
No,
No, you don't?
no.
Huh. Well, I thought you
I'm
did.
impacted. I'm impacted. Just realize what you mean. I'm impacted by the gray. I can't handle the gray. I lived in Washington for 14 years, just about, and it really, really got to me. And the gray isn't as bad. And I was saying about the light and all midwinter.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as bad. I start gearing up for spring again, but I start enjoying the time to be inward, cozied up. This, though, has been a radical, abrupt switch. This storm really has changed the climate and the feeling of our season radically.
Mm-hmm.
And so not only did we have daylight savings and the day has gotten shorter, it's been pouring rain nonstop for almost 3 days
Mhm.
and really, really gray. And so I'm not acclimated yet. I'm in shock.
Yeah. But
It's hard.
you wouldn't say that you have seasonal affective disorder, though, not necessarily in the clinical way that that's defined.
It's hard to say. I don't think I do, but I certainly was happier when I left the gray and moved to the
Mhm.
sunshine. I'm a sunshine person.
Yeah, and that could be a physiological
Yeah.
thing.
Well, it is.
Whereas, stresses can come from a physiological thing. Say that you can't digest a certain kind of food, but that's all you have. So your belly's going to be hurting. And for seasonal affective disorder,
Yeah.
when the sun's not out,
You feel it.
you feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are other stresses that you create for your own stresses that are created from the filtering of how you deal with things. And seasonal affective disorder could add itself to a stress. Say you're stressed about
Yeah.
your job, your workload, and you feel tension inside. Throw a physical stress on top of that,
Hmm.
you're compounding that stressful feeling.
Yeah. Well, as you injured yourself a while back, and I have chronic pain from being hit while I was walking by a car. We both have had pain, and that adds to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the things we talked about earlier when we decided to talk about stress and this sort of thing is we found that the pain, dealing with pain, can be tiring
Mm-hmm.
and difficult. And then work increasing, you have important work going on right now. I have a business and work to do, and we have family, and we have the holidays
Mm-hmm.
right now, family coming in a couple of days. We have exciting projects that are going on, and meetings with
Mm-hmm.
producers today, and then a party to go to tonight, first in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, this exciting fun,
turning into a
yeah,
stress
was turning
situation.
into being stressed. And
So what we do sometimes is we get one of the sound bowls out, tune into the sound, and breathe.
mm-hmm.
And it's really that simple.
Well,
your stress can come back right away, but the more you practice alleviating your stress,
yeah,
the easier it becomes on a daily basis.
yeah. And this few days has really disrupted our normal patterns. So
Mm-hmm.
you walk every day, pretty
Right.
much, and that has impacted your feeling of this anxious energy rising and
Right.
going a little stir crazy and
Mm-hmm.
needing to get out and walk. Like I need to get outside.
Right.
Yeah, and I noticed that we've noticed the last few days that there's a day when he's telling me I'm being snippy. Like, what's the matter with me? And then there are times in the
Mm-hmm.
last few days where I'm saying, what is going on with
Mm-hmm.
you? Like, there's an energy about you. What is
Yeah.
it? And we start carrying that anxiety to our relationship.
Right. Because if you're only around one person all the time, then you don't know where your stress is coming from necessarily because you haven't had time to filter it. You haven't had time to really look at it because you've got so much stuff going on and you haven't taken the time to stop. You can look at your partner and say, well, you must be the problem. I mean,
You
that
you do say
happens.
that to me sometimes.
Yeah. And I
I
know that
sure
you
say
feel
that
that
to
way.
you
Yeah.
sometimes.
So,
Yeah, and it's important,
yeah.
to be able to stop when you see that happening and say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you seem a little stressed right now, or you seem a little snippy right now. Um, what's going on? Let's
Yeah.
check in.
Right. And I think the key ingredient to coming to that conversation is to phrase your questions in a way that aren't triggering. Because if you're already sort of triggered and because of your inner conflicts and your inner filtering that's going haywire from the stress, you're almost looking for another reason to be mad. And so your partner's questioning could be considered like another affront. And then you can start snowballing that into a full-blown argument. And I know that it can go both ways. If you're feeling in a situation where, okay, you're coming to heads, You might unconsciously say something triggering out of a response that there's part of you that would like to get into it a little bit. And that conflict becomes not just a concept, but a real thing.
Well, that's when I call my sister. Hey, Val. And say, oh my God, I'm about to lose it. Or, something you do. Talk to someone that you love or care about, or a friend. And if there's no one there to talk to, you might pick up your guitar. In the warmer weather, I'd go in the garden. But being aware and conscious
Mm-hmm.
of what's going on is really important, and trying to catch ourselves
Yeah.
when we find each other. Like if you're annoying me, I know that there's something going on for me, because every little thing you're doing is annoying me,
Mm-hmm.
and none of it matters. And
Mm-hmm.
it's silly little stuff. And I'm sure I do. You tell me I do things that drive you crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sure you go for a walk or pick up your guitar. What do you do?
Um, I don't know. A lot of the times I just try to let it go, because at this point in my life, I think I'm becoming more and more aware of the things that could, escalate a simple misunderstanding, or uh, you know, who wants to go there? I mean, one one of the biggest problems is realizing that your life is not going to last forever, and I don't care what you think or what you believe in. There's still ambiguity over the fact that, okay, at the end of it all, what's going to take you out? And so understanding that that inevitability is, for a lot of people, whether you like it or not, right around the next corner. And it gives you a little bit of a perspective to say, well, why don't we just let this go? Because let's not waste time um, arguing about stupid stuff, or indulging that part of your ego that enjoys conflict and arguing and making a point and being right. After a while, it becomes apparent that that's really not a very good use of what limited time you have on this planet.
Yeah. I remember a moment like that where I was walking into a room and you had clothes on the floor. And I like things a little neater than Kevin cares about. He's fine leaving his clothes on the floor. But I have to walk through there to do some of my chores. And I'd see it. And the first thing that would happen in my head would be annoyance that the room is messier than I like it. And this entire dialogue would go on in my head. And then there was the moment I caught that and realized that I had spent so much time calling you in, so much intention into finding you in my life. And here I was bitching about clothes on the floor. And in that moment, I looked up and basically said to Spirit, to life, to the universe, thank you very much, because this means that Kevin's here. And I realized that all the things that we do that annoy each other, that in the moment can be difficult to deal with, and
Mm-hmm.
we were bitching about, that ultimately that means you're here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what would you do without? I mean,
What
when I
would I
think
do
about it,
without
yeah,
you?
I know. What would I do without you? We're constant companions for years now. It would be
Mm-hmm.
inconceivable
Mm-hmm.
to be in a world without you. I just can't see that as being a happy situation at all.
No. So
But
yeah, we get nervous when the trees start to sway, and it all could end in a moment, and we're stressed, and time stresses us,
mm-hmm.
and I have this to do, but you have that to do, and what has to be done, and
And I
it
think
becomes,
it's important to learn how to deal with stress, though,
yes.
because stress, it adds it, not only does it feel bad, but it is bad. It affects your DNA. It affects
Mm-hmm.
how you metabolize. It affects everything. When you're stressed, you're not breathing. You're not
Breathing,
digesting.
to breathe
Yeah,
fully and consciously.
you're not able to process in a logical manner. It's toxic. And we are thrown a lot of stress in our lives from various things, and it pretty much hits you at day one.
Well, and sometimes the things that we're excited about, even if it's work or family coming, we're excited about that, but we want things to be nice for them. And get our stuff done so we have time available to be with them, and things that are exciting. Waiting for a concert to start for me is so exciting. It's almost stressful. I just can't stand it. It's too much fun. And, fun getting on a roller coaster, though I don't do that anymore. But you remember that feeling as you're going up. It's anxiety, but it's excitement.
Mm-hmm.
All these things we get excited about.
Yeah.
And that can be harsh on the body.
It can be harsh on the body, and it can also turn into dread, because the exciting feeling is so close to a stress feeling that it can become confused, I think, from time to time. I know for me, it's stressful to have a situation where something's going to happen that's going to be basically a good time, but the getting ready for it, the anticipation for it, adds a level of stress that almost becomes a situation where you're dreading it. Maybe not dreading it, but you're dreading having to deal with so much anxiety over it.
Doesn't Sebastian Maniscalco have a little bit about getting ready to go and what you're going to do and what you're going to wear and who's going to drive and the whole to do about getting somewhere?
Yeah.
Somewhere out there he has that skit.
It might not be Maniscalco.
I think it is.
But anyway, you get the drift.
Well, that made me think of just the to-do of getting ready, even to go do something fun, is how when we're stressed or we're really busy, time and our choices get more critical. And that's places where any two people working together in a relationship can go at it, because time, how we make our choices around time become more critical. And so what you do with your time and my time becomes more critical. And also my own choices, that opportunity to be totally conscious and accountable for how we're spending our time, what choices I make, and reminding myself what my intention is for my life, and what I'm holding is how I want my life to feel and be. And all these things we're doing, do they bring me closer to that or not? And that's part of stress management for me, and handling stress is be very conscious about what I choose.
Exactly. For instance, we blew 3 hours last night watching Salem's Lot. And after watching it,
it's a movie.
It's a stressful movie, but it's also
it's fun.
It's a campy movie. I don't want to say crappy, but anyway, after watching it, not only did we endure all of the stress of watching
it was
a
stressful.
horrible movie
My
about
chest was tight.
vampires, but we also realized we just blew 3 hours of our
time.
lives watching this.
Yeah.
Not to say I don't want to put anybody down for, it was an artistic expression.
Yes.
And
we like movies.
It was, not the best.
No, it wasn't the best.
No.
I've endured quite a few movies lately that have been Kevin's choices, and they have not been the best. So when we get to this point, then I usually say it's my turn now. I get to pick the next few movies. But since Halloween was a while back, you were on a roll of a lot of old vampire movies, which we both like.
Right.
But some of them are better than others.
Yeah, but it's going back to what we're talking about. This the amount of time you spend doing things that that are beneficial to your being and to your direction, what you feel like you want to do, and how you do it. Because at the end of the day, the end of the big day, you're going to be probably faced with realizations about how you did spend your time, and what you did and what you did not do. So, add to your stress.
Well, this period with the storm, I think, also reminded us of how quiet and calm our life actually is. It's quiet here. We often don't listen to music or anything. It's just quiet. And then suddenly when there's noise, maybe a loud car that goes by, we're in this little village, or the rain on the skylights. This storm has been crazy loud, and it's been 3 days straight without a break, really. I don't think anything more than 5 minutes, if that.
Pouring.
So it's this constant sound. we're laughing, saying, "Oh my God, our life is so quiet
We have to
and
turn the
mellow
TV up as loud as it will go to
to
hear
hear
it
beyond the
over the sound
rain."
of the rain.
Yeah. And our lives are so mellow and so quiet that even a loud rain is noticeable to us
Hmm.
because we just like it peaceful.
Yeah,
And it is most of the time.
most of the time, yeah,
Yeah, it's awesome.
it is. It's
Hmm.
just things get wound up around the holidays, during storms, um, you know, normal kind of things. I guess we might be considered lucky that our biggest stress is getting ready for the holidays.
No, our biggest stress for me right now is wondering if the redwood's going to
Well,
fall on us and
that
squish
too.
us while we sleep.
I'm almost more stressed about the holidays than
I believe you.
yeah.
They don't stress me out at all, but what the anxiety is for me or edge around it is just the busyness. There's a lot to do, and I really enjoy the holidays. I enjoy family visits. I enjoy playing. Playing and taking the time to go out and play all is a lot of fun for me. When Christmas comes along, gifts and just sharing that time, for me, the more the better. Though the time crunch kicks in because of being busy, and
Hmm.
then it's, well, can you help me with this? And you're
Uh-huh.
feeling, can you help me with this?
Yeah. Or could you leave me alone?
Really?
uh,
I'm sure you want me to leave you alone sometimes.
well, of course, but and so do you want me to leave you alone sometimes.
Not too much.
Well, every now and then I can tell when my conversation's hitting the wall.
And I need a little space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that you can feel that.
Hey, it's not pronounced in either one of us. I happily have as much time as I need for whatever I want to do, and so do you. I mean,
Yeah,
but we live together. We're bound to have situations where we're not going to be on the same page all the time.
yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
Because we're not.
And we don't.
No. And we cope.
Hmm.
We have singing bowls and a glass of champagne. But it's fun.
Yeah.
Life with you is really fun. And today we said, looking forward to doing the podcast because it'll be a bit of relaxation,
Hmm.
which was really sweet to see
Hmm.
that sitting here and having this time together and sharing it with you is enjoyable and actually relaxing.
Yeah. Yeah. This is fun, and as we talk, it is at times enlightening, and hopefully that wears off on you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'd love comments hearing about how you all cope with that and how you handle fun and stress and
Hmm.
time and how you manage possibly to navigate that in as an individual and also as a couple.
Yeah, we'd like to hear from you in the comments below,
Yeah.
whether you think we're onto something or what are your coping techniques. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what people say.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're about done.
I think so. We'll see you next time.
Please subscribe to
Hit
the
like,
channel.
hit don't
Yeah,
like.
that would be awesome. And we will see you again next Tuesday morning. Bye.
Bye.